Hello everyone, Niverio here. This time I am bringing you a recap of the last game I have played, and in this particular video I am going to focus on how to play a defensive game and generally what you should do and what you shouldn't do when you are in a turtling position. In this game I was not a complete turtle, but I was under attack by a very stronger opponent who had like 6 times more the outposts I had. He had more speed and he had more specialists in general. But I managed to survive and be a thorn at his side, and pretty much I prevented him from eliminating me and forgetting about me completely. And in this particular scenario, I'm going to explain how I did that. So, I'm not going to focus entirely on the game. Like, I'm going to give a short summary of what happened, but I'm not going to focus on them. I will just focus on the particular battle I had with Brown over here. He is Aram, and at this at the time of the game, he was the number one player in the leaderboard with 1915 rating, and he was a pretty respectable opponent. So you will see how hard he pushed me in this recap. So, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because at the start there was nothing particular going on except for Pink auto resigning, like so to say, he just Brown just sends 18 deers at the start and he doesn't even move, he doesn't hire, and he is gone. I have a decent setup, I have decent starting position. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. This game had the special rule that nobody was allowed to hire any navigators they had. So it means there are no navigators and no admirals. And in general, what the navigator allows the people to do is it switches the power of reaction from the defender to the attacker. And in this game, since there were no navigators involved, I had the power of reaction as a defense, and I utilized that to its maximum efficiency in this game, and you will see how. About the hires, I was pretty unlucky, so to say. Like, I didn't have any smugglers, any houndsmen, so I had no speed at all, except for some pirates I have hired, which you will see soon. So, I had a pretty decent start. I get a lot of dormant outposts, and since Pink resigned, I get some extra outposts here as well. But the problem is, after a very short while, I was under attack by multiple people. At this time, I was given notice by Brown, which was a 36-hour notice, and I had Purple attacking me from all over my northeast without he actually having vision of me. Like, as you can see, I don't see this outpost. It's Isaac to his Samba. And he doesn't have any vision about me whatsoever when he launched his attack. So I don't know why he launched, but I'm not going to dwell on that much and show you what I have done in this game. So I tried to negotiating with him. So I sent my, but when he didn't accept to gift, I sent my queen there. I hired saboteurs and a pirate, and I just saboteur his attack and then pirated my saboteur back. A very classical move. So he's going back. But as you can see, he's bringing more troops in. And like, it was a really hard time for me to negotiate because you will see that he was going to send another batch of drillers along the way, and like, I was just not able to stop him from these attacks, and he was distracting me because the main problem is Brown. He had already swooped out all of these pink outposts. Like, he has an engineer, a pirate, and a houndsman sub. And as you will see soon, he will promote that foreman to an engineer, and he also has a hypnotist hire available. At which point I have a princess, pirate, saboteurs, and a sentry. So I was pretty much at a very big disadvantage here. And as you can see, while the houndsman is going back, Purple is trying to be sneaky and sending 2 batches of 70 to me among some subs of one. So I was pretty much pissed off about that because he didn't have any vision. But like I didn't have time for this because I saw this sub. Like I know that he's going to attack me sooner than later. So I have to prepare for this big attack because it had speed and he boarded me from both sides, from west and east. So this was the main fight I should be concerned about. So I'm fast forwarding a little bit. As you can see, he promoted the king. He got all of these neuter factories. My problem was like I had literally no speed. For the first 10 hires or so, I had 0 helmsmen and no smugglers at all. But I got a second pirate, and with the help of some stringers from my ally, Teal, I managed to get my pirates and saboteur to the central generator here to Sagan. And I also started to get up my drillers over there because I knew that with this extremely fast sub of Brown and without me having any speed whatsoever, I was not going to be able to hold these western front at Vaccarino and Raven and Summit. So I decided to make my stand at this Sagan Wilkes border because I was not going to be able to defend the more western outpost from that side because I had no speed and he could outmaneuver me easily. So fast forwarding a little bit, as you can see, he's chasing me down, and since he has a engineer here, and I think he got gifted another one from his ally navy at one point. I will show that also. And as you can see, he pirated my sub of 116 and he still has 70 alive. And as you can see, he also has the king, so he's not losing any drills while doing this. So I immediately knew that I had to draw the line somewhere. And as you can see, that line is for me at Sagan. Like I completely abandoned these western outposts because it was a lost cause from the beginning. So I just let him have it. I also left Shasta and Triton completely empty because they were generators and I already had some cap space. So I didn't need the drillers. As you can see, he's also attacking some small subs to my west, to my east, but I'm defending those easily because I see that because since I have a princess over here, I see that he's not focusing on my eastern front just yet. He had no drillers here. So I can just hold him off with these 100 here. And you will also see that I finally managed to talk with Pink that I will give him deep core and he would be launching attacks to Iron at his western front from deep core. So he will do that once here. But it was not a very efficient attack. And you will see that he lost quite almost all of the drillers here. And yeah, he lost his husband and it was not an effective attack at all. So anyways, as you can see, here's the gift I am talking about. Navy is gifting Smuggler, Helmsman, and Engineer here. Also, like, he's also gifting a Princess gift from Beige. Oh no, actually that's his own hire. Anyways, so back to my Western front where all the actions happening. I think time. Brown also decided to attack my ally Teal with his Huntsman Engineer sub, so I decided to launch a counter attack from Sagan to Vaccarino. I didn't go for Summit because in this fight, generators are not important. Both of us had a lot of cap space, so it was more important to go after the factories. As you can see, he's not also sending huge stuff here. Like, he's just sending enough to bypass the shields of these outposts, so I don't even defend them. He gets those. And since he has a king and a lot of fed production to his central factory at Vaccarino, he's able to hold my sub of 96 over here, just barely. But at this point, he also had the both engineers gifted, so he doesn't lose almost anything. Like, he survives with half the drills on board. I also get Summits, but I will lose it shortly. Yeah, he's launching there. Okay, so what happened then? At this moment, like, after I took Poteka from my ally, he also launched direct at Keelslink. Since we had no speed, my ally abandoned it. And after that, he had launched at Dijon, which I had gifted to my ally because I was funding him, and this way our factory would produce 8 drillers instead of 6, so we would get more production out of it. That's the reason I left these 2 factories to my ally. But as you can see, IM is getting them for himself. But at after 10 days or so, I finally get my first smuggler hire here with a thief. So I bring them with a sentry to Sagan so that I can hold a western position here. As you can see, he has this Dijong over here, like, and he has vision to everything I see, pretty much. Like, he also sees Albrecht because he has lots of intelligence officers or something. I don't remember. Anyways, I'm fast forwarding a little bit. He's taking Hook, and then he's going over to Deep Core. At this point, I am also launching a counterattack to Dijong to get my factor back, and I pirate thief his sub of 30 going over to Dijong so that I will be able to capture Dijong without him getting an extra cycle out of it. So I will capture Dijong with 3 drillers remaining. At this point, he's going to Deep Core, and as you can see, after this gift of 90 and all of these specialists, I see him bringing an Elder over here. Now, this is a big problem. My defense here is mostly consisting of a pirate and a saboteur. A pretty deadly combo because unless your opponent has a lot of drillers ready to attack you and he can't win the fight by dividing his attack into 3 parts, you can always saboteur the initial attack or the most powerful attack, pirate your saboteur immediately back, and then make him lose the ground and make him lose time. But Elder counters that. And since he also had 2 helmsmen, 2 engineers, 2 smugglers, and 1 elder over here, I knew that I needed to do something. Luckily for me, I had at this hire, at my next hire, I had a martyr, which is pretty fortunate because martyr is the only specialist that can counter an elder. Anyways, where was I? As you can see, since my allies have also joined the war, the fight at my western front was pretty much stabilized. As you can see, he couldn't go more forward than Sagan, except for the reroute he took from Dejong to Deep Core. And then, at this point, the fight shifted from my western front to my eastern front, because um, Light Blue was also my ally. Since they had nothing to do, now they took over my western front. Like, as you can see, Light Blue is plus Lieutenant, and Teal also has a substantial force of 140 here to attack his weak eastern front. So now, as you can see, I am abandoning Sagan because I know I'm not going to be fighting Endotfeld any longer. Iron cannot afford to attack these factories because then he will lose all of his eastern side because we have like tiers ready here to attack him. So I smuggle everything I have back to my initial factory, Albreed, where my queen is, and I also stop hitting on Wilkes because at this point I am on the brink of getting capped because like I lost already a lot of generators, and since I am playing a reactionary war, I am not many drills. As you can see, I am just holding 135 drills at Hook because I was given notice by Navy at this point. But then he decided to go back and attack Purple for some reason. I don't know. I'm not going to go deeper into that. As you can see, I'm bringing everything back to Albrecht. Okay. Now what's happening? As you can see, he also launched as Sambar. And since I didn't have any hires that would stop that, I also left it. As you can see, I think he launched that while I was asleep because I didn't even move the drillers out, which all of them will die. As you can see, I'm just holding a pirate saboteur at my mine at Matsu, and I'm still keeping my princess at keyboards because at this point, the only thing I care about is having early initial warning about what is bringing over here. This princess was the only reason I had vision of that elder so early, and maybe without that, I'm going to hire something else for example, like the inspector. And without a martyr hire, I would not be able to hold this attack. So one of the main things you have to know when being a turtle is you should never hire unless you need to. Because normally you see your first and second hires what you are going to get, but after the second one, nobody knows what you are going to get, including yourself, but your enemy as well. And since your enemy doesn't know what hire you have, they cannot plan a specific attack that will be countered by a specific specialist because they don't know if you can counter it or not. So, back to the game. He's smuggling all of this speed stuff here. As you can see, he's launching a Hounds and Elder sub to Matsu. I'm not going to defend that either because I don't care about the mine at this point. The mine was only there at the start so that I could fund the people around me and make some advanced diplomacy using funding and trading stuff. So I just didn't care, like, because in these type of games you never win by mining early. Like the Neptunium gain you will have will be irrelevant when one team appears at top and just controls the whole field. They will just arrange the order in which way they want. So early mine is just for funding and strengthening people you want and making deals. So I don't defend the mine either. I pirate my sub out by targeting his stringers so that they don't get captured. As you can see, he is also launching at high burst. Like, I just send the princess back to Albright just in case that he wants to go aggressive here with the houndsman. Since there are no navigators out, he cannot use a normal sub to catch that princess. So I just want to trade that princess for the houndsman. Okay, so I just leave Kybers as well. And here is the biggest mistake I make. As you can see, after Navy had retreated from here, I had launched this sub of 135 to Matsu so that I could reinforce myself even better for the incoming attack because each specialist can only get so far. Like when you want to really survive as a turtle, you need drillers because in the end, if somebody is dedicated enough to kill you, they will unless you have enough drillers to survive that attack. And here I make the mistake, like since I have no speed whatsoever and I don't have the luxury to move my smuggler out because this smuggler is the only thing that keeps me alive from this Hampson sub here because otherwise he can just outrun my queen and capture it. So I was always in danger of elimination. So this route that this 135 is taking is like a 26-hour way, and he is able to counter that by launching at my mind. Like when I launched it, I didn't think he could just gather everything he had at Matsu to kill my 135, but he does. And he also brings two engineers over there. So, like, all of those 135 just die without dealing any single driller damage because engineers repair it all. And as you can see at this point, I also see that Orange, who is another ally of Brown, is bringing another Huntsman, Pirates, and Elder sub over here. And after I talked with him for a little while, I also learned that he was planning to gift these stuff to Brown as well. And that was a little bit problematic because one Martyr can only hold one Elder, and I need to hold two here. So he's staying here for a while because at this point, we are at a stalemate. I have 3 hires stacked. As you can see, I didn't hire anything because I was still not in the danger of elimination myself. He didn't have enough drillers or specialist power to eliminate me at this point. So he's bringing another Houndsman down. Like, he has all the speed he wants here. He has Houndsman, Smuggler. He's also going to get a Pirate from above. So he's bringing Houndsman. And then he launches an attack with an Elder to Hook. The moment he does this, I immediately relocate myself from Albright to Dijon, my only other double shielded factory at my south, because since he doesn't have his Huntsman, Engineer, and Elder sub available, he was not in a position to stop my launch, so he couldn't undercut me by getting to Dijon first. So I relocate here. I also leave Albright empty, and he will pretty much attack there a little bit later, yes, as you can see. And since Smuggler can only carry two specials with him, along with the queen, that's only one. I decided to bring the thief in because pirate is going to provide all the other utility I need from my other two specials, and thief is the only other specialist here that would make the biggest difference in the driller combat. So I brought him with me. I also retreated my pirate and saboteur back to Dijon as well. And I moved my sentry this sub to Enki. And the moment I arrived there, I immediately sent my tinker back to Dijon because I didn't want my shields depleted. And it was at this point the least important spec I had. Like, I didn't care if the tinker was captured or not because its effect was not helping me anymore. I already had my two generators up, and since my 135 had died, I had lots of cap space and not enough production to fill it anyway. So as you can see, he is capturing my princess over there. I don't care. And at this point, he makes a mistake. This is the first mistake that he has ever done at a very long time. As you can see, he is launching 87 drillers with the houndsman, with a smuggler and engineer. And the thing is, I am able to, since this sub has no speed on it whatsoever, I can actually outrun that sub with my smuggler from Dijon to Enki, and with enough drillers, I will be able to beat that sub to Enki, and in the end, I could get rid of 3 hires worth of specialists. And as you can see, I have 4 hires stacked. At this point, I didn't have any assassins or hypnotists, but those two are the things I needed to either kill these specialists or hypnotize them to myself, which would be even better because I definitely needed speed. For my unluckiness, like, this was the point where I needed the specialists. So that's why I hired my specialists at this point. I hired the martyr because that was the only counter to elder at this point. I also got assassins and the lieutenant. The problem is I didn't get a hypnotist, but assassins were the second best, and in order to hire these assassins, I passed up on a smuggler hire because killing one smuggler and one engineer is more important than getting one smuggler of your own, especially when you are third. When you are thirteen, you always have to make sure that you are killing the most important specials of your enemy. And in this case, his two engineers were the biggest threat for me because he could always regenerate drillers while I was not able to. So I sent thief, assassin, and smuggler upwards. I beat his sub there. I also use my thief to first kill some drillers off and then pirate the thief back, and I kill his engineer and smuggler. That's the first step. Yay, well done. And since still I have her on board, he's not able to launch the drillers from Albright to take Enki over. And another reason I wanted to kill those specialists is I knew that eventually he would be able to capture Enki, so I didn't want to capture those specs because he could always get a diplomat to rescue them or just take this outpost later back in time, and I just wanted those specialists gone. And then he makes another thing here. As you can see, he's launching a sub of 123. Like, first, he launches some subs of 3 and 4 to bait my martyr out because, and I launch necessary counterattacks for that. But then, here, he decides to go for an attack. Like, he admits that he was testing stuff out and he cancelled this order, but the game launched it at sub anyway. I don't care. He launched this sub. It had Houndsman, Engineer, and Elder on it, and 123 drillers. And he launched them to my allies' Factory of Tamer. And the moment he launched this sub, I immediately discussed with my allies. Like, Teal was not online at this point, but I discussed with Light Blue. And I had another martyr coming after this martyr, so I was not in a bad position to sacrifice this martyr to kill 4 hires worth of specials. In my situation, the Elder is the most dangerous spec and the Houndsman as well because it gives the mobility and the ability to negate my other combat specialists. So it was definitely a worth sacrifice here to use a pirate and martyr to blow up 100 plus all of these specials plus my allies factory, which was original mine. But this was a worth risk. Okay, so what happened then? Also, as you can see, Orange said that he was going to gift. I saw that Orange was gifting Pirate and Elder to Brown, and I decided to use another Pirate and launched all drillers at Enki to beat that sub, so that he didn't get another Elder off. This was also crucial because, as I said, Elders are the most frustrating thing for me because they are the thing that breaks turtles, and I needed all the specialist power I could get. As you can see, I'm holding off barely at Enki without any drillers, and the only thing keeps base alive is the combination of Saboteur and Pirate and the Sentry. Because at this situation, the only thing I can do to keep this bases, I can Saboteur the big subs, and I can kill the little subs sent by him by a possible war hero promotion. And which you will see, I'm going to do that exactly after he launches these attacks. As you can see, I fast forward a little bit. He brings another hypnotist to convert the princess. That's all right. I don't care. As you can see, I am. He also hired a diplomat, so he rescued his elder. And then this was the breaking point of the game because after I destroyed like 9 hires of worth of specialists, Navy was pretty angry with Brown about how he was sacrificing the specialists he gave him because, as you have seen earlier, those engineers and helmsmen were specialists gifted by Navy. So he pretty much turned on him. And then also, while he was making some negotiations with our team, I mean Navy, Brown was very upset about that because he didn't want to agree to those. So he also turned on Navy when you can see Navy is going to launch some subs at Kaishan in order to attack purple. But then Iron decided to betray him, like to beat him there and then capture all of those specials Heather had. Luckily he was able to survive by another princess he had at Kaichan. Okay, back to my. As you can see, Orange here is gifting another 164 drillers plus lieutenant and foreman to Iron because like this is like the 15th gift he's getting. So, and since I had another pirate, like I used 3 pirates so far in this game, I sacrificed one to blow up the engineer, helmsman, and elder. And right now I am sacrificing another to just kill this lieutenant and foreman because as you can see I have another pirate available. I also have another pirate's hire available here, so I'm not sad by sacrificing another pirate because in my eyes this is also a worth trade because as you can see like his engineers were devastating to my early game and I didn't want him getting another either general or engineer, so I sacrificed another pirate assassin to get rid of this foreman and lieutenant even though they were captured. And then as you can see he is launching the 50 from Wilkes to Enki as 20 as subs of 20, and then he is also sending another 160 from Albrecht to Enki with the helmsman and elder. And at this point my queen is down at Dijon, so I was not in a position to martyr that sub, so I retreat. I take my specials out of there except for the sentry because as you can see I'm bringing the 2 lieutenants and 1 pirate sub of 137 drillers. So what I do is I wait till my sentry kills the maximum number of drillers he will, and then I promote it to a war hero, and then I launch it back at Wilkes to kill all of those subs that were batches of 20, to kill them all, so that I will be able to win this war where I had 2 lieutenants and 1 pirate with 137. Like if he had stayed in the space, I would win this fight by 3 drillers remaining. And this was the only move that I could do to actually not lose my specials and not lose this battle. So I had to really calculate all the possible scenarios here. And this was the only thing that worked because I had launched this sub of 137 way earlier and he reacted with this attack. But don't forget yet, war heroes are situational and they are useful, alright? In this scenario, if I didn't have a war hero, all of these subs were dead. So I launched the war hero, and as you can see, since the generator is empty, I also take that out. And then here something else happens. As you can see, he hires a martyr, and then he tries to pirate martyr the sub of 20 I was sending upwards to get my specials down back with the smuggler. So I just used my other pirate to blow up his sub here. And this is also an important part because when we were playing, he was online, and I saw that he was experimenting with gifting the martyr and then launching a sub from Matsu and time it at such fashion that the martyr would explode. But it was not going to work because when you gift a sub, you can always refuse that gift by targeting it to the pirate and then gifting your pirate yourself. So I was prepared for that scenario as well, but he didn't gift. So he also released my assassin pirate at this point so that they would blow up as well. So I lost those specials as well. And I lost Enki as a factory. And at this point, he was getting overwhelmed from all sides. As you can see, my allies from at the eastern front, at the western front were pretty much overwhelming him. He was forced to run away with these 300 years. He was also fighting Navy at this point since he betrayed him. And these were his final moves that he was trying to kill me. And he made a one last attempt. And at this point, I thought I was dead for 1 second. Because as you can see, after this 137, he launches back to Matsu, like after I get the mine back. And then he decides, after I send my smuggler up, he immediately launches for Dijon. And the thing is, the hire was too late. Like this helmsman hire was later coming than this helmsman's arrival, and I had no speed to run with my queen. So this was a really tough situation for me. But I also found another solution for this, and this was good from my angle because like I was really proud of thinking this here. So as you can see, I have one general, and I also have one king and one general gifted from turnout at this point. It was also the way I was going to win this battle with 137 drillers here. Otherwise, I would lose. Since if you were wondering how I was going to win that, I took these specials from my ally. As you can see, I have sent multiple stringers so that we could time it right. He sent it a bit early, but it was okay. And then as you can see, what I did was I launched all of my specialists in separate subs and I launched the queen first. What this meant was I had 5 hires worth of specialists here, and I had 2 generals, and I had also 1 lieutenant. The queen can promote specialists while she is under transit. So that means that when this lieutenant was alive at Anki and remaining stationary at Anki, I would be able to promote him to a general even when my queen was afloat. And since I had launched 5 specialists apart from each other, and with 3 generals available, I would be able to kill 150 drillers with all of those specialists combined. And since he had only 140 drillers available, he wouldn't be able to capture my queen, even if he sent all of those subs plus the helmsman after my queen. And he also had to send Al, and that's why he couldn't have killed me off there, because he didn't have enough drillers. But it was not worth the effort, and in the end, because even though I had speculated, like I had planned for all of these outcomes, before even doing anything, Brown decided to resign from the game since he was getting 4 versus 1 or 5 versus 1. I don't know. Like the diplomacy is very complicated in this game. Like it will take way longer to explain how all the diplomacy worked in this game. But I didn't want to focus on that. And at this point, Brown resigned, and that was how I was able to survive this long in this game. As you can see, some highlights, like I killed former lieutenant here. I blew up the Tamir from earlier, another 4 hires worth of specials there, and then I killed a Hansman smuggler there. That's 3 hires worth. So in this game total, I either killed or captured or assassinated more than 10 hires worth of specials while losing minimalistic numbers from of my own. I lost 3 pirates in the game, 2 martyrs, 2 assassins, and I also sacrificed at the earlier stages 1 princess, which he converted, and 1 tinker. No, wait. Where's my tinker? I don't know. It's there, and my tinker was always there. Okay, I didn't sacrifice it. Anyways, that was it, guys. I wanted to show you the combat perspectives in this game. From my perspective, the combat scenes. Apologies for the misconception. So, if you want, I'm going to explain the diplomacy of this game in another video if you guys want. But until then, see you guys later. Niverio out.